Hey, Howard here at 82 Maple, and you've seen our Arctic Fox 1140 first impressions video. You've also probably seen the pros and cons exterior of this unit video. This one's a little different because while we're going to touch on the pros and cons of the interior, this video is as much about responding to the question of, is a truck bed camper even a reasonable solution for you? So I am going to say some things that are very, very favorable about the Arctic Fox 1140, but I want you to know right up front, I've received no compensation, no request for my perspectives from Arctic Fox, past, present, or future. And so let's get on with it. So Coral's going to focus down before we go too much further past the entrance. Down here, very conveniently, we have controls located. This is for the rear awning. This is for the slide in out. And here's for the first lights that you turn on as you enter the unit. There's a heating duct right here. There's also a plug-in should you need to be operating something in this area. And just on that note of the electrical system in this unit, there's a plug-in everywhere you need it and more. And that is amazing. Hopefully I'll touch on a couple of the specifics in a moment, but let's keep going here. So we're just inside the door and we have this giant storage drawer here. Giant for a truck and camper. I've got more in here than you can ever imagine that I would need, but this is shakedown run number 2. We're prepping to head for Alaska next year. And so I've got more equipment and supplies in here than we would typically have, but it's a matter of over preparation. Then right here, yeah, gloves, our hatchet for, we love a campfire, lots of room for shoes. And, come on in. And let's go straight into the bathroom. Here's what I really like about this. So with the slide completely in on this unit, hey, I'm 68. Sometimes I go to the bathroom more frequently than I did 20 years ago. And so we can pull over at a pullout anywhere. I can slip in the back door here, open up the bathroom door. Hey, I love the secure latch mechanism. That's solid. Coral and I have had other RVs where you go to close the bathroom door. Just by way of context, this is RV number 8 that I've owned. And the door is open and stuff is distributed all over the floor. Hey, this is super secure. So I can slip in here, go about my business, and leave without having to touch the side slide where Coral is standing right now as she's videoing this. So a real porcelain toilet. Hey, that's a treat. Yeah, I know a number of RVs have them, but you don't always find them in a truck bed camper. Enough room to slip a garbage can beside. Most truck camper units have a drawer, but not of this size or capacity. And they have a little storage behind the mirror. We'll open this up. Yeah, not a fan because there's no lip on here, which means that all of this somehow ends up in the sink, depending on the road that we're on. I have a fix in mind. I'll apply that long before we go to Alaska. Also, this wasn't mounted very securely. That screw is completely coming out. That's a little project for this evening, which is why I have that tools and equipment drawer. I have the mounts that I need to secure this thing. Because of the weight of the items in here, it pushes the door open. If there was a lip on there, or Coral suggested just a little rail across it, that wouldn't be happening. But hey, you know what? We got the storage space. We'll deal with it. This is something that I haven't really seen in other truck bed campers. We have an amazing amount of space. We've way overstocked this. I mean, I think I have 3 different kinds of face lotion in there, and I only use face lotion once a month. But hey, it's there. Coral's hair dryer and a whole bunch more. We put up some towel, great little fan system, which you'd expect, and a shower that doesn't mean getting the toilet wet, meaning it's a dry bath. No shower curtain. I love this shower door. But you know what? Coral and I aren't big people. She's 5'1", I'm 5'9". You know what? Height probably isn't an issue. They've cleverly put a skylight in here. I could be 6'6", but the elbow room, you know what happens? I end up just bumping into one of these water control levers, and all of a sudden I either have a scorching hot shower going or a freezing cold. It's not large. And you know what? I really don't like pointing out something negative unless I have a great suggestion to offer. And so that brings me to a really important point about this little walkthrough on the interior of the Arctic Fox 1140. A truck bed camper isn't for everyone. Coral and I think we've died and gone to heaven with this because we're actually pretty comfortable. We've been known to disappear into the wilderness for the better part of a week. Me with a 50 to 55 pound backpack, Coral carrying 35 to 40 pounds, and we have everything we need for that time, including everything we need to wash and stay super clean as we use the available water supplies along a hiking route. So this is the lap of luxury for us. But hey, it's not for everyone. If you can't kind of keep your elbows in, or maybe if you're not, don't have our dimensions, this might not be for you. Even the sink is tiny, tiny, tiny. And we were kind of, what, really? When we first got the unit, and we've learned to cope, and cope very well, actually. And it's not even an inconvenience at this point. A little cupboard down here. Yeah, there's plumbing access, but all our laundry supplies and extra toilet paper, things for maintaining the black and gray tanks, fit quite nicely in there. Again, if there's a theme as we go through this little Arctic Fox 1140, and again as part of a tick list for you to look at as you think about it, whether a truck bed camper is for you, we just love how Arctic Fox has made use of every available spot for extra storage and taken pains to make sure that there's wall space. You know, you don't always have room for, in a truck bed camper, inside of drawers, inside of cupboards, or wherever, but the wall space. And so I'm just doing a quick scan around. I've never actually counted here, but we have hangers all over the place, including, and I always like to have extras and extras of keys. And if there's not a key on a hook, it means there's a key ring that's somewhere else. This one is in Coral's purse for a reason, but there's just lots of wall space around. And there was no, you'll see some yellow stickies just to prompt me for things to talk about. There was no full-length mirror. One of the first things that we did on this trip was attend one of Coral's nieces' weddings. And so Walmart, a full-length mirror, I mounted it up. We solved that problem. That would have been a really nice touch in this caliber of a camper to have a flexible mirror. This one's completely flexible. No, it's not glass. It's not going to shatter all over the floor. You could actually bend the thing really well without anything happening. So moving along, we covered that. Let's go to this little area. Again, it's Coral and me. We don't have a family of 6 in here. And so the table stays up. This part of the table is generally our office. All our office supplies and odds and ends are over there. I have a little briefcase with all sorts of extra things in here. My super note. I've got a little library tucked in underneath there. Again, there's plugs everywhere. You see some cords running up the wall. Those are cords that I installed. There's a power bar hidden back here, and we have our Starlink modem sitting right there. And this is not normally sitting here on my side of the table alcove, but these are invaluable. I'm utilizing probably a dozen of these of various sizes just to keep things contained in a spot during the travel. We travel, there's a reason that our truck is a 4x4. We've run corduroy roads and other things, so it resides as an extra underneath my library. This is our little Milwaukee power pack. It's simply a big Milwaukee battery mounted onto a converter, and we carry 3 or 4 of these batteries with us. Each battery will sustain the Starlink mechanism for 3 to 5 hours. I know that sounds like a big window, but I haven't figured out what makes the difference between this battery going dead in 3 hours and it going dead in 5 hours. We'll figure that out, and that'll be another episode one day. So, but it resides right down there by my library. But again, speaking of space, hey, interesting little hidden nook. And so we keep our outdoor clothes. Plus, I'm not sure how much of that is going to pick up, but we keep a day pack back there for when we stumble across that hiking trail and decide to lace up the running shoes. We're off and running. But aesthetically, we've got a little cover over it. Let's keep coming on in. So what am I missing, Coral? Oh, yes, right here, an extra little storage. We have puzzles in there, we have games in there, we have crib boards somewhere, some extra refreshments tucked away in there. Again, vents, if anything, there's more than enough vents. We've got another one here. We have a massive one there that under the table. It's absolutely terrific in that sense. Then I'm gonna switch places with Coral here. And so we have a pantry in here, and we can get extra baskets. I've got a couple extras on order from Arctic Fox. We have room for much, much more in here, which we're going to need for longer excursions. A really solid locking mechanism, more cupboard space for tinned goods. We've got some, yeah, those are some extra hangers. Hey, I didn't even know we had that tucked in there. More storage space. All the cooking utensils that we need on a journey like this. The fridge is more than adequate. I'm going to do a little video separately. Somehow this doesn't switch nicely from electrical to propane. Topic for another day. Let's stay with the subject matter here. We've got right behind Coral, and we'll touch on it, we've got a microwave, but over here we've got a 3-burner stove. Wanted to mention that for years we had a cutting board with knives on it that we would have to find a place to stash. Very clever. All the knives we need are tucked in right there. And the oven on this type of unit is self-lighting with the spark igniter. We've had previous ones where you had to go into the oven with a lighter. No big deal, but they've kind of thought of everything. Again, lots of drawer storage space. Our bigger utensils right there by the stove. You know what? And now I'm going to kind of switch with Coral again here. Counter space is a real concern in a truck bed camper. And it doesn't seem like we have a lot here, but this sink is one of my favorite features of this. And so it takes up a lot of area that would otherwise be useful for counter. And there's a cover over it that you can have so that you extend your counter space. I don't know why someone would do that. We just like the sink, because what Arctic Fox has done, and you'll have already seen this in the video, is we have this little cupboard or counter extender, and it tucks away in a in a closet up in here, and I'm going to pull it off in a minute, but I just wanted to demonstrate it. I've taken up to doing some truck bed camper cooking, and I can tell you that counter space was not an issue for me in any way, shape, or form. This worked perfectly. I actually just laid my cookbook up here and went to work. So I'm gonna pop this off right now and fold it up and just lay it here on the bed. And when we're done filming, I'll stash it back in its cupboard. But a couple of things I wanted to mention. In a video a couple of years ago with a different truck bed camper that we owned, I complained just a little about the step up from the floor to the bed. And it's a little ponderous to navigate in the middle of the night. Not so with this one. We have a good height of step here. It also works really well for just sitting down and lacing up some running shoes, because we leave the table over there up all of the time. And if you need that extra little boost, they've actually put a booster step in here. And that's really handy. Again, a plug there, a plug here. I know I'm jumping around a little bit, but we're just walking through it sequentially here. And a plug down in here, which is where we have, again, speaking of on the road luxury, here's our coffee setup. And this is kind of exactly how the little unit appears at this time of day. I've laid out all the coffee stuff. I'm in charge of morning coffee. And so we've got our French press, we have our frother, we have our cups laid out, there's water in the tea kettle, the spoon is here, we're ready to go. And these cupboards here are amazing. So we've got good depth there. All of the coffee supplies slip right in there. We have some dry goods. Hey, we just picked up some fresh taco chips. That's what that's all about. And some containers there. This cupboard is extra deep. Some cooking, some other goodies, and back in there, tough to see, but there's room for all sorts of paper plates, should we choose to go away from washing, and at least half a dozen rolls of paper towel back there, or other supplies, whatever one needs. Another little stash up in here. We're gonna get a small food processor and pop it up in there, but extra cups for guests that come by. Again, wall space. Hung an extra cutting board there. We just throw this stuff into the sink when traveling. This is control central for everything that you would expect on a unit of this nature. And this is command central for the stereo and the TV. Outside speakers, inside speakers, fade, all of that stuff, all good. And then that's Coral's side. Have I finished here? I haven't really finished here.
That one.
Look at that.
Plates and cups. And...
Yeah. Hey, come on over for dinner. You may not like the cooking, but we'll have plates for you anyways. What else am I missing?
Oh, just the microwave, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we got the microwave in there. Works wonderfully. Fan system right here. Close enough to the cooktop center that it moves everything out. Everything you'd expect here. And just those little luxuries. You know, what a nice little set of night lights there. I know I'm missing something in this area. Oh yeah, spice rack. I had a tiny little area in a similar sized truck bed camper, and we had a tiny little spice rack that we could get a few things into. Wow, we just have an abundance of space here. We have more space than we know what to do with. So again, we think we just died and gone to heaven, and if you need more space for cooking utensils or dishes, of course you can just stash them in the oven when traveling. Yeah, cutlery, extra supplies, more extra supplies. It's a little small, but they make up for it in different areas. We just keep recycle bags right in there, nice and handy. And hey, it's awesome. So The stock bed, very, very comfortable. If you're wondering what this is about, they've just given you the option that you can see all the way through from the truck. The rear view mirror actually goes right out, and there's a window in the bottom of the door if you choose to use it. We just tend to keep this closed. And as we get up here, swing out TV. The reason this cord is hanging here, as soon as we're finished recording this little video episode, NFL is on. It's Monday night and we're going to be watching. And speaking of that, we've got a couple of iPads laying up there. And one of the iPads we press into use along with Starlink, and we get a live feed. And we love our NFL and we don't want to sacrifice it just because we're on the road. And this swings out really, really nicely. So in fact, what we do is we just sit on the back bench and we can have our meal and watch our NFL, and it folds back in, clips into position, or we can watch it from the bed. And again, deep storage, a big cavity there for all sorts of things, as is this one. And that's a wardrobe. Thanks, Coral. My words. We keep our biking gear and some other coats and things in there.
It's also where the table goes.
Ah, yes, and this is where the table goes. It just slips in there. There's a little clip in if you don't like it flopping around in there. They've thought of everything. I'll get up early in the morning and go to work and do some video editing. And so if I felt that the light or anything was bothering Coral, I can slide this across. Hey, I don't know why I have so many hats. I don't even know how they made it in here, but there's a whole nother shelf. There's another wardrobe there. We have independently controlled night lights. Hey, something I really love, you see all our cords plugged in there? Yes, we love our electronics. 7 kids, 8 3/4 grandchildren, and we stay in touch day by day. And so whether we're dry camping or otherwise, we stay very, very connected as a family. And so there's plugins both for when we have the full electrical hookup or are using the coach batteries. And so a number of those connections are tied into the coach batteries so we can keep our iPhones and iPads and Starlink up and running. I think we pretty well covered it. Again, great lighting. There's more lighting than you could ever need in any area of the coach. And then we have a thermostatically controlled fan there. We can set it for temperature control, auto off on. It's also very clever in that you can either control it with this remote or simply control it from in bed at night. And the fan, you can select whether it's bringing air in or blowing air out. And again, just so many little things, which was the other thing, so as we started out in this video, there's 2 or 3 things that I wanted to make sure we covered. Number 1, there's great storage. Number 2, if there's something to look for in any truck bed camper that you're looking for, and in particular what Coral and I appreciate about the Arctic Fox 1140, sure, there's some little things that based on our personal preference, we wish that they might have provided, but generally speaking, they've done a great job of the details. Things like I just mentioned about coach battery-based chargers and the full plug-in chargers. And that just goes throughout this entire build. So we're super, super appreciative of all of that and a whole lot more. So again, I've said it a couple of times, but the purpose of this video is to help you decide or if a pickup bed camper is for you. For Coral and I, we love it. None of the things I've even mentioned as cons constitute a reason for second guessing our decision to buy this particular unit. Stay tuned because there's 3 more videos coming about this truck bed camper, the Arctic Fox 1140, including one about some of the cons that a couple of which I've identified, some of which I haven't, and what we're doing to compensate for those. So stay tuned. Thanks for being part of our journey. Hey, 8 fingers, 2 thumbs on the road. But there's more. Hey, I'm famous for saying there's 3 things I want to talk to you about today. And I get finished with number 2 and number 3 just evaporates on me. I realize that I forgot to pop up this step. Remember I was talking about this rear view from the truck window? So I love this. So we have storage under there. We happen to throw, there's a bunch of water bottles I've got to throw in there yet and other beverages. Can use it for anything. But this is a lot of magic down here. This is part of what makes this a true 4 Seasons camper. Our water pump and the brains of our water system reside firmly inside the heated area of the camper. Love it. Again, thanks for being part of the journey.